Hellos, and welcome back to another videos, and today we'll be taking a look at Odyssey. Yes, okay. It's Odyssey the 2000, yeah. It's not that movie, but it's this set of Magic the Gathering. So yeah, we'll be taking a look at the top 10 broken cards of Odyssey, and we'll see what they are. And let me tell you, they're out of this world for some of them. Okay, that just gave you a hint to one. Because number 10 is Upheaval. Some people actually may have not heard of this card, but it's actually banned in Commander for a good reason. So it's 4 blue blue for a sorcery, and it simply states return all permanents to their owner's hand. Now you might be asking this yourself, why is this banned in Commander? Well, you can just float all the mana and storm your way off to victory. Well, that's why I think it's banned. Honestly, though, it's just kind of a weird card. I don't know, because you spent the mana to just bounce everything, and now you're going to replay this stuff. Okay, I don't get why this is banned in Commander, honestly. I mean, it's stupid, yeah, but I mean, what else is new in Commander? So this is not really that powerful. That's why I gave it number 10 on this list because, it's like, it's not that good. But hey, someone can have used it somehow. But it's like in all Commander games, I guess. But no one can abuse this in Commander because number 9 is Battle of Wits. And people are going to be upset that this is not number 10. But let me explain why it's just number 9 and not number 10 like Upheaval is. So it's a 3 blue blue enchantment for at the beginning of your upkeep if you have 200, yes, I'm reading that correct. And my eyes do not deceive me. 200 or more cards in your library, you win the game. Okay, how the hell are you going to get 200 cards in your library? Well, I'll tell you. You can just have a 200 card deck. You probably need more, maybe like 215. And there was actually a deck that it was called Battle of Wits. And the main focus of the deck was to try to get Battle of the Wits using control magic and tutors to win the game ultimately with Battle of Wits. And yes, there was 4 of in the deck, of course, because it would be hard if you just couldn't find the Battle of Wits. And this made decks a little bit more interesting and a little bit more intuitive of the game. You could probably play this in a Yorion deck if, well, you can run that in Standard, which you can't. So I don't know how you're going to make this work. But yeah, Battle of Wits is kind of a silly little card that really doesn't see play anymore, honestly. That's why I gave it number 9. But here is number 8, and people might actually be surprised by this because I thought this would be higher, but I'm just going to give it number 8 because it's kind of risky, and that's Tainted Pact. And I'm only doing it basically solely on the effect rather than what it goes into. So Tainted Pact is 1 black for remove the top card of your library from the game. Okay, you're getting yourself into some weirdo shit already. And you may put that card into your hand unless it has the same name as another card removed this way. Repeat the process until you put that in your hand. So basically, it's like demonic. Was it demonic pack? Except at instant speed, or no, demonic consultation. It's like demonic consultation at instant speed. Is that one at instant speed? I don't even know. So, anyways, the way you can win with this, and it's in EDH decks all the time, especially in competitive ones, is with Thassa's Oracle. And you can just name a card like, oh, I don't know, you have to name an actual card from the game. I don't know, you can name um, Winota, because there's no competitive Winota. You can name Winota and be like, oh no, Winota's in my deck. Oh well, I guess I win because Thassa's Oracle. Because you could do it in response to the trigger of Thassa's Oracle. Yeah, it's stupid, I know. Why not just ban Thassa's Oracle? In competitive EDH. I mean, that'd make life easier. So yeah, I mean, this card can be utterly broken in some circumstances, but honestly, it's just a tutor to get to your combo piece. It's a combo piece tutor card, and I don't know how I feel about this. Honestly, it's really weird. And my lizard friend is making some noise in the background. Oh, fun. Anyways, let's move on before we get out of hand. And number 7 was going to get out of hand in a ring. Okay, I should stop making these puns, but I will still do it because of the video. Barbarian ring. It's literally just a ring. There's no like row. It's just 4 torches in a ring. Okay, we'll fight in that, I guess. But anyways, it's a land that adds 1 red mana to your mana pool and it deals 1 damage to you. Ouch. But here's the good part about it. Threshold. If you sacrifice this, you can deal 2 damage to anything. That's right, anything. But you have to have 7 or more cards in your graveyard, because that's what Threshold is. So basically this was played in red decks in the old standard of the time. And it was played to get extra advantage off of basically dealing damage. This is kind of like the Ramen Up Red of the old days. So that's why I kind of put this on the list because it's powerful in its own way. Because it's, basically Ramen Up Red. And this card is just way better than that, honestly. Because he only takes 1 mana instead of 3 mana? Yeah, whatever. So yeah, it's pretty nice. Pretty nice. But you know what else is nice? Number 6, taking so many extra turns, time stretch. Now, you all have seen this before when someone casts an extra turn spell in a Narset deck, and you're like, when will this end? This card basically embodies that whole wait your goddamn turn. And that's why they don't reprint cards like these anymore, because taking 2 extra turns means you just win the game. I mean, you're taking 2 extra turns. How ridiculous is that? That's just, ugh, stupid. And even for 10 mana, that's fine. You can just cast it without paying its mana cost with Narset. So I only put it on this list for the effect because just taking turns in general is powerful. But when you take 2 extra turns, yeah, no, that's just stupid. And you probably shouldn't do that because people will hate you for that because it's basically a game of solitaire. Let's just play solitaire, everybody. Yeah, this card, you're that dude, and those alien looking things are the solitaire cards. That is you. This card is kind of stupid, not gonna lie. Should even be higher, but there's some mean ones on this list. Like number 5, which yeah, number 5 might be a surprise to some people. It's Squirrel's Nest. And is that squirrel holding an eyeball? I I don't know. I really don't care though. It's a 1 green green enchantland for enchantland has put a 1/1 green squirrel creature token on into play. So why is this card on here? You said it based on the effects. I will give an exception to this one because it is banned in Legacy, I believe so. So because basically what you can do is you can have a combination of Earthcraft and Squirrel's Nest to create infinite squirrel tokens, which basically means you win the game. And it was an insane deck that they actually had to ban it in Legacy. And honestly, this effect for a land is actually kind of powerful because you can just tap it at any time to get a free blocker. I mean, hey, the cards we have to pay mana at least. With this, you just have to tap it. And getting all those tokens is no joke. You can actually very much overwhelm an opponent with that many squirrels on the battlefield, let me tell you. It's actually not a bad enchantment. And for the combo, it's just way better. It's just a bonus at that point. Because you just get infinite squirrels, although they'll be tapped, so. And I really don't know why it's banned in Legacy. I mean, Legacy's already broken as it is, anyways. Why not just unban this card? Because there's really no point. I'll counterspell it or destroy the land with like Wasteland. I mean, Wasteland is legal in Legacy, so I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I just don't get the whole thing. But speaking of Wasteland, number 4, Putrid Field. Oh, yes. So this is A land that taps for colorless. But the cool thing about this card is when you sacrifice it, you can return a target land card from your graveyard to your hand. And this is played in legacy decks to return, you guessed it, Wasteland from your graveyard, and you just destroyed more lands. Oh, goody. You see how I was kind of iffy about this list? People don't think these cards are powerful, but let me tell you, in the right circumstances, these cards are powerful. Man, Butcherfield, if only you said basic land. Oh well, we can't really change the past. So yeah, Butcherfield is really powerful. And if it was, legal in modern, you can probably see sideboard play against Tron because you don't like their lands being destroyed. I'll just get it back. What a stupid deck. And we're going to take a look at more stupid stuff in a moment. So here's another stupid card at number 3, and that's Psychotog. Now bear with me, I'm going to explain the history of why this card is powerful. So, Psychotog was actually played in Psychotog decks, and I'll explain why it was played in Psychotog decks, because it had madness effects or discard effects. So, it's a 1 blue black, a Tog, I don't know. Discard a card from your hand. Psychotog gets +1/+1 until end of turn, and then you can remove 2 cards in your graveyard from the game, and then Psychotog gets +1/+1 until end of turn. So you get where this is going, right? It's like Arcbound Ravager on freaking steroids. So basically, what these decks would try to do is they would either A, try to control the board to get a big ass Psychotog in their goddamn face, or they can use madness cards for Psychotog to basically get an advantage when you discard a card, because it's a free discard outlet. And you can get a lot of advantage by removing cards in your graveyard as well. And you can basically get a big ass Psychotog in your face all the time. And this deck was actually really, really powerful in the standard of its time. And some cards had to be banned with the Psychotog deck. And the Psychotog deck was kind of a mysterious deck in Magic's history, where the deck was dominant, but it was also very weak. So it was kind of one of those decks, kind of like Delver, where, you just had to ban cards that helped this deck out. Because it wasn't just this card that made it broken, it was the cards that were printed that made the card broken, like Madness. And that's why this card was really powerful. And that's why we kind of don't see Psychotog decks nowadays, because you can just kill the creature. And Delver's just better in Vintage, so I mean, you could try to make a Psychotog deck, but you got Delver. You're good enough. So yeah, that Psychotog is a historical card. And I actually kind of like the deck. It's very interesting. And let's move on to interesting to broken with number 2, and that is, oh boy, a Tomb. Yes, and people are going to be upset why I didn't put this in number 1, but bear with me. Entomb is 1 black for an instant, and all you just do is search your library for a card and put it into your graveyard. Shuffle your library. So what can you do with this? Well, obviously Reanimator decks. So there you go. Reanimator seems some play in Legacy and some play in Vintage, and it's actually a really neat card because you can also get, flashback cards. You can get cards to up in your threshold. You can get dredge cards. You can get a lot of cards that interact with the graveyard. And emphasis on search your library for a card, not just a creature card. So that's why this card is pretty powerful at what it does, and it's used play in Vintage and Legacy Reanimator decks. Also does see moderate play in some dredge builds. Oh yes. But not really, because they don't need to use mana anymore, so whatever. These are all Vintage staples. Let's just get it out of the way. Alright, and we're going to talk about number 1. Now, people are going to be upset with number 1, but I picked number 1 as Standstill. Now, bear with me. We're going to go through another historical moment with DJ Vinyl. I should just make like a section for this video, but I'm not, because I'm a homeboy. I'm a homeboy like this dude, just standing still. I don't know what he's doing. I like his quote, take your time. Yeah, I'm just gonna sit here all day. Because stand still for one blue, and it's an enchantment. And it's just whenever a player plays a spell, sacrifice it. If you do, each of that player's opponents draws 3 cards. So the tip on this deck, there was actually a deck made for it called Land Still. And basically this deck aimed to gain advantage with lands and standstill. And normally people would play cards in Vintage and Legacy like the Moxen. So you would always draw 3 cards for each standstill you had. And your lands would basically be your helping point. And the great thing about this is that the sacrifice thing is mandatory. It's not a you may. So you'll never miss the trigger. You'll always know when it's coming. And it's great when you do. Now people say, oh, but I'll just stifle the goddamn thing. Nope. Because if you read carefully, it says whenever a player plays a spell. So that means that trigger goes onto the stack regardless, and the whole effect goes off before you can stifle it. Because if you play a spell in response, I believe the trigger goes onto the stack again, but you don't draw 3 cards. I think one of it cancels out. Pretty sure that's how that works. I could be wrong. So yeah, you can't really do much about this card once that happens. And it's crazy to think that a simple card like this can see so much play. It's even still played in standstill decks in Legacy, even without lands, and it's just called Standstill. It's crazy how good this deck is with just being adaptive in situations. Drawing 3 cards is no joke, and that's why I gave it number 1, because of the card advantage and just the hilarity of this card. So anyways, that is the Odyssey set. The next one is going to be a good one because that's when it introduces some of my personal favorite cute cards. Yes, there's a cute card in there. We'll go over it once we get to it, okay? But anyways, that's going to do it for the video, guys. So I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of the day or night, and I'll see you guys in the next video or stream. Bye. In peace.